I'm Logan Webb, and you're listening to TortureCast.
You're listening to a podcast by and for fans of the three-time world champion, San Francisco Giants. With hosts Chad King and Eric Nathanson. This is TortureCast.
It's Monday, August 22nd, 2022, and this is episode 261 of the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Chad King, and joining me today from the great city of San Francisco, glad he's back, the OG, Willie Dills. Gregory, how you doing, bud?
I am, well, after yesterday's game, doing a lot better. We were struggling as Giants fans for a little bit there again. When I looked at the show notes, I was like, okay, Chad, I think you've summed it up pretty well in the very first sentence. Because, yeah, it's been a roller coaster of a season, huh?
Yeah, you know, we were gone last week. We didn't have a show. I was traveling. I was doing some scuba diving up and down the coast. But during that stretch, they suddenly won 5 in a row or 6 in a row, whatever it was.
It was 5, yeah.
Yes, 5 in a row. And, you know, it's just like, I was like blue balls, man. You're just like, hey, maybe they're doing something here. And I was like, wah, wah. Nope, nah.
Well, so
it's like 4 in a row after that. Yeah,
you lose 4 to the Dodgers, then you sweep the A's in a 2-game series, and you win the first game of the Padres series, and you're like, okay. And actually, I remember I was listening to the radio for that first Padres game, and the radio announcers, and I understand their job is not necessarily to be, you know, Debbie Downers about the situation.
Of course.
But they're like, okay, so, you know, the good news is we got a lot of games against the Padres because that's the team we have to, you know, get past. And I'm thinking, is that really good news? Like, I would rather the Padres are playing the Dodgers and we're playing the Pirates a bunch.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. We are going to have to play the Padres a bunch more times after getting Soto. Then we go on and we lose the next 2 to them, sweep the Pirates. So it's like, okay, cool. And then win 2 out of the 4 against the Diamondbacks. But the first 2,
it was
so
the first 2. Yeah,
we just it's so streaky right now. And then the thing too is when it's going good, it's like we're scoring runs, we're getting walk-offs, and then when we're scuffling, we're getting shut out. Guys can't get any hits with runners on. It's like feast or famine, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know, the 5-game winning streak followed by 4 in a row just kind of neutered anything. So, I mean, when they just start to make a move, and look, we all recognize this. 2 weeks ago, we said they're dead, and nothing's changed. They went 7-6 since our last podcast. They gained a whopping half game. This is it. So you can't tread water like this. I mean, everyone knows this. The Giants know that. Gabe Kapler knows it. Front office knows it. You got to make a serious, you know, push here and hope that the guys you're chasing are not going to do that well. And that's the problem here. In fact, I just did a little math to torture us all because what makes it less likely is the fact that the Giants have to pass 2 teams, right? Not just one. And you can't assume that both the Philadelphia Phillies and the Milwaukee Brewers, those are the 2 they're chasing right now. I know San Diego's only a half game ahead of Philly, so it could be the Padres. But let's consider those 2. Right? Let's just consider Philly and Milwaukee. Both of them have to suck or play 500 or worse for the Giants to pass them. And here's why. If Philly plays, they have 41 games remaining, right? So if they go 21-20 the rest of the way, the Giants have to go 27-13 just to tie them. And then, of course, they have to beat Philly in the season series to get the tiebreaker if they were to tie. And right now the Giants hold a 2-1 edge, but they have 3 more games against them right, coming up in a couple of weeks. So, if they won 2 out of 3
if we're going to go 27-13,
that's part of the calculus.
We're probably going to have to beat them in that series.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, you can't go get swept by Phillies and go, oh, well, I guess we still have a chance. No. So, you're going to have to sweep or take 2 out of 3 to even have a chance. And then same with Milwaukee. If they go 21-21, they have 42 games remaining. The Giants would still have to win like 25 or 26 games to pass them. So the likelihood of both teams playing 500 or worse are, pretty low, and then the chances of the Giants going 27-13, I think, are even lower. We all know that the season's pretty much over unless something crazy happens. I mean, look, it happened against San Diego in 2010, right? The Padres had a freaking like 8 or 9 game lead in the last month, and the Giants caught them. Then again, there was one team, and that team went on like a 10-game losing streak, So it took a lot for the Giants to catch them. Yep.
Yeah, the Giants got hot, and they got really, really, really cold. The problem is, that there's 2 teams to pass, and you have to rely on both teams having a bad. I would say it's more likely the Giants actually have a good last month here than both of those teams fall apart. Because I think even if we do this 27-13, which is insane, one of those teams is just going to do what they're doing already. It doesn't matter if they get hot or not; they're just going to stay whatever they are. And to me, like, I can't see. You are right, though, that it's very unlikely for 27-13 because with the way we're playing, it's like we're going to have a long losing streak again. That's just how it looks. It's how this team looks. Yeah. It's crazy. We're that streaky as an entire – we're the Brandon Belt of the San Francisco Giants right now. It's like we're either destroying everybody and winning every game or we're, just looking lost up there and trying to bunt with 2 strikes and runners on scoring position, which is what Belt is doing now for some reason. It doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. I'm sorry, Giants fans listening to the show. I'm the supreme optimist on this show a lot of the times. I'm the guy who says, hey, we could still do this. This time, I'm here to say I don't think we can do this.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think it's time to pack it in and just kind of have your fun moments. Yesterday's game was fantastic. That was real fun. And at the end of it, all smiles. But no realistic thoughts of, okay, that's the one. That's the turnaround point. Because I've still heard people say, oh, that's the moment. That's the moment that's going to do it.
Right.
It was the relay throw that we saw recently for Brandon Crawford. God, now I can't even remember who that was against. Do you remember?
Yeah, and it was Joey Bart who did the swipe tag.
Yeah, Joey Bart did the sweep. Yeah. Oh, that was the Padres. That was the game we won 1-0. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 1-0.
And they were said that's when we're going to turn around. Guess what? No, we lost the next 2 to the Padres.
Yeah. So. I've heard a lot of that too. There's this could be the play. This could be the game that turns it around. And it's like, no, sorry. For every high, there's another low. It's just that's the way this team is. And I think the Brandon Belt streaky analogy is perfect. I mean, the dude is so effed in the head right now that he's bunting with 2 strikes. And he said afterwards, well, basically I was, I was overmatched against that pitcher, and I thought that was the best chance for getting on base. When a dude thinks the best chance of getting on base against a particular pitcher is to lay one down with 2 strikes, he has 0 confidence right now. 0. Doesn't matter who's on the mound. You should not be bunting with 2 strikes. I'm sorry. It's just... Yeah, it's bad.
His post-game interview, he said something about the strike zone. He didn't know what the strike zone was with that umpire. So, that's one of his strengths, obviously, as a hitter.
Yeah.
But, I think we've all noticed that the Giants are bunting a lot with runners in scoring position, and it's weird. It's like, look, I get that when they put the shift on you, especially when they do that thing with – I can understand the 2-strike mentality because that's when they move the third baseman all the way over to the other side of second base, right?
Sure.
So now you've got a shortstop as the closest guy to where you're bunting, and maybe he's not familiar with fielding that play. But I see this so many times. They're bunting, and it's just going to the pitcher. I'm like, are you practicing some sort of bunt that's pushed down the third base line or something? They continually keep doing it. I'm like, I think you guys are better off taking hacks here. Maybe the philosophy is trying to get them to stop doing the shift, but the teams aren't going to stop doing the shift when the
not with 2 strikes. Working, so. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It's it feels like all of the philosophy things that worked so well for the Giants last year are just not working this year, and I think that's all comes down to personnel. I really don't think that it's a supreme failure in strategy because we just haven't had our team. We just haven't had the guys that we thought were going to make up our squad for the entire season, and the problem too is for some reason Longoria seems to be able to come back from injury and be Longoria again, like right away. But not everybody else can do that, right? So these guys come back and then they scuffle for a week before they get their footing again. And during that, we struggle. We struggle as a team, up and down the lineup.
No, there are so many guys on this team that we've never heard of before. Not one or two, like two dozen. I mean, this has definitely been a quad A team for the majority of the season. And I have to say, I mean, like a lot of people are calling for Kapler's head and Farhan's head, and I'm certainly not one of them, and I know you aren't either. Yeah. I think it doesn't matter. I mean, everyone, Bruce Bochy. He's like, the dude he was the manager of the team that lost 98 games in just 2017, just 5 years ago. Like, are you guys forgetting this? It's not always the manager. The manager can squeeze a lot out of certain situations and certainly the playoffs. We saw Bochy's magic with the bullpen. It was definitely not numbers based. It was gut based. It was situation based. I mean, he was a master in the playoffs, and that's how they won those 10 series in a row. The fact is, during the regular season, it really is the accumulation of talent, right? It's not necessarily talent in the playoffs and short series. It can be just pivotal plays and one play here, one play there, and a good decision here or there. During the long course of the season, it really is about the talent. It is. I mean, it's bearing true right now with high payroll teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees. And, middle of the road, I think the Giants are 12th or 13th in payroll, but decimated by injuries, right? And they're filling in with all these AAA players. How can you blame that on Gabe Kapler? There's no effing way. You bring Bruce Bochy back, and he's got the same record, or potentially even worse. We don't know. But the fact is that they just haven't had the talent this year, and that is on the shoulders of the front office for sure, for them to fix this, situation. And I know it can't be done overnight, but we are in year 4 of the Farhan regime, and I know it takes time, but it can't take 10 years, right? I mean, it's got to start happening a little sooner than that. And we saw that last year. But I think to a certain extent, it really was the alignment of the planets of career years from veterans and stability in health, Yeah,
and certainly we just had guys who were healthy.
Yeah. And then certainly like things like their 1-run record at, 37 and 19 or 37 and 15. Anyway, these odd outliers that most teams aren't going to have stuff like that. And it took every single one of those wins to beat the Dodgers, fend them off by one game, like the Mike Tauchman catch, Robin Albert Pujols of a home run, all these little magical moments that contributed to just an incredible season. That was like a once in a lifetime thing, I think. And, you have that exact same roster last year and the exact same number of injuries. That same team this year probably wins like 95, I just think everything happened so well last year. Basically, luck was on their side. This year, not only is their luck not as good, but the health. There's just the health isn't as good.
Yeah, and you brought up the payroll thing. I think the Giants are willing to be bigger spenders going forward, but I think it just wasn't really. It's odd to me to think about that, because do we want to be like a big spender when we're going to be in the division with the Dodgers? Like, we need the Dodgers to stop being this, what I mean? For us, like, you can't really build your team in the same way if you're going to try. You have to try to get sneaky, I think, when you're, like the Red Sox have always been like, well, screw it, we'll just try to spend almost as much as the Yankees. But I don't know if the Giants can really take that tact, right? It's like we have to find another way. We kind of maybe have to look at like what Tampa Bay does somehow, and just figure it out and do something sneaky. But we should spend a little more than we are. But it's just, I don't know if that's really the way forward. It's tough. It's tough when you're in the West in the National League, because we're just gonna have to deal with the Dodgers and the Padres, man. They're spending like crazy right now. All the guys.
I just did not. I don't think anyone could foresee this like Atlanta Brave-like run that the Dodgers have had, especially in the era of the expansion of the divisions and now expansion of the wild card playoffs. But the fact is, the Dodgers started winning the West in 2013, right? Because the Giants, previous to last year, last won the West in 2012, and we'll get to that in a minute. They won every single year, the division every single year except last year, and they lost it by winning 106 games, for God's sakes. That was actually, they tied their highest win total during that entire stretch. So for all intents and purposes, they've essentially won the West every year since 2013, you know? And they're going to win it again this year. So that they're sustaining this excellence of winning during the regular season with this supreme talent and high payroll year after year after year. And it's going to be really hard when you look at their farm system. Their farm system's still rated in the top 5. So they have this shit to come for years and years and years. And you bring up a great point. Like, the Giants could back up the Brinks truck. And even if they got guys like Aaron Judge and a star pitcher or something like that, they still got to compete against the Dodgers. And now the freaking Padres, who have unloaded their truck as well.
Yeah. Yeah, right now the West in the National League is just a tough place to compete, right? It's almost like, in a way, with the expanded playoffs, we're competing against the Brewers and the Phillies for years to come here. And just trying to get in, right? And then see where everything falls at that point. But, I do think that the Giants can do it on a philosophical level. We just need to stay healthy, and that might be one of the key things that they need to look at going forward is, don't just look at guys for their F war while they're on the field, right? Maybe look at guys who just have a history of playing 150 games of baseball every year.
Right.
And can just stay on the field and compete day after day. Because I got to say, man, Longoria, if you watched that game yesterday, that guy, I mean, he's talking about hanging it up at the end of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes 3 for 4 with a grand slam, a double, and a single yesterday. Triple short of the cycle. He makes 6 incredible plays in the outfield, the third base, but you know what I mean, in the field.
Yeah.
And he's just coming off of injury. And people are like, yeah, well, it turns out when he's on the field, he's great. And I'm like, okay. So we built our team around Longoria, Belt, guys who just have never played that many games. And our star last year was Buster Posey, who played 2 out of 3 games or whatever. It's we constantly got this whole platooning thing going, and that's fine, I guess, if you have the pieces to move them around. But people get injured, you don't have the pieces anymore, and suddenly you're platooning with a double A guy, right? So yeah, we need guys who can stay on the field. We need guys with some star power, and we need to put butts in the seats if you're the Giants organization as well. So it needs to at least be exciting baseball. And right now, that's not the product that they're putting out. It's unfortunate as a Giants fan to admit that.
It's really frustrating. Did you know? So I wanted to talk a little about the 2012 team in a minute, but since we're talking about injuries, the 2012 team, obviously they won the NL West, and that was probably their most dominant year, right? They won the West easily.
Yeah, from start to finish.
Yeah, from start to finish. Obviously, they struggled in the playoffs. They had to win those 6 consecutive elimination games. I remember being up at your place for one of those games, which was a lot of fun. So they had their backs against the wall against the Cardinals and the Reds. But during the regular season,
that was the Matt Cain perfect year or perfect game year too.
It was. So, they had it in June. Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been it was the perfect year. Let's call it the perfect year.
The perfect year. Yeah, it pretty much was. So their rotation.
He was our star pitcher in the playoffs. Yeah.
Their rotation consisted of Madison Bumgarner, Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum, Ryan Vogelsong, and Barry Zito. Mm-hmm. Out of 162 games, do you know how many games all 5 of those guys started?
Ooh, I'm going to guess it's pretty high. Mm-hmm. Actually, no. There was some injuries. I don't know, but I don't know. What was it?
They started 160.
Oh, okay. It was high. Okay.
All but 2. Yusmeiro Petit started 1.
He got to start. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other start was a guy I don't even remember. Eric Hacker. He got into 4 games that year.
I remember Eric Hacker. Yeah.
I don't even remember that name. So can you
not
believe
a memorable
that?
Giant, but
no.
Yeah, I do remember him then.
That is incredible, dude. 5 pitchers started 100 all but 2 games. What the heck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, even Zito. I don't think Zito. That was not the year Zito had a stellar year, right? But he had quality starts in the playoffs. So
Yeah, he had a 4.15 ERA, which in today's game would be just fine.
Oh,
10
wow.
years ago, it was a little
we were
high.
calling for his head, I bet, too.
yeah, 4.15. Yeah,
4.15.
Vogie had a 3.37. Lincecum was the bad one. That's when he really started his precipitous drop. He had 34 starts, 186 innings, 5.18. Matt Cain,
strikeouts. Still striking a lot of people out, right?
Yeah, let's see. K's, 190 strikeouts and 186 innings. So about one per. Then you had Bumgarner at 3.37 and Cain at 2.79 because he, of course, had that excellent year. But you look back and it's just 10 years ago. And I don't even remember noting that the starters basically were healthy all year long. I don't even remember that. But to look back at that, and think of like starters now, I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy. Because if you think about it too, that just means even if your bullpen has, because I'm like, oh, there were some injuries. They must have all been bullpen injuries but even if that were to happen, you don't have to eat up as many innings when your starters are always out there and always giving you 5 or 6, right? And sometimes more. Yeah, we do not have that luxury at all this year, man. It's crazy. I got to say, I don't feel like we had that last year either, and we somehow made it work. But there was, that's just maybe the modern game of baseball is that you just have to do more with less when it comes to starting pitching. But that's phenomenal. And that's what I'm saying, though. You might look at guys and in kind of a Moneyball approach, you start looking at OBP instead of batting average. Like start looking at innings pitched as a stat that matters, right? Like, get guys who can get out there and stay out there, because this whole in and out constantly, you got guys moving down and up. It's got to wear on the clubhouse a little bit. We've seen this season, and obviously when you're not playing baseball well, it causes problems in the dugout. But we've seen more issues in the dugout and like players not being incredibly happy than we have in the past, right? That good vibes thing is a lot of times what leads to good baseball. The Dodgers have it going right now, which is really annoying, by the way.
Yeah, winning breeds contentment and happiness and a good clubhouse. There's no doubt about that. And the Dodgers are just rolling. And so, with the expanded playoffs, they'll get a bye in the first round. So they don't have to worry about kind of that issue of a 3-game series. Yeah. Yeah.
They just get to hang out by the pool and watch all the other teams. That I will say, like, I wanted to just think of the Dodgers as like this collection of prima donna all-stars, but then I watched them in the dugout having a blast, and they're doing that stupid horns thing on their head after getting hits. I'm like, nah, they're just having fun, dude. That sucks.
Yeah.
I hate watching the Dodgers have fun.
Dude, I hate it. I hate it so much. But then, like, some of the guys are great guys. Like Mookie Betts is a good guy. Clayton Kershaw is a good guy. Freddie Freeman is a good guy, right? Dave Roberts is a good guy. These aren't like a-holes. These aren't, Manny Machado's not a bad guy. He's just kind of
but also he's annoying as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, he's annoying as hell. But it's like, individually, it's hard to hate some of these players on LA. But man, just watching the team do so well, it's just disheartening, and you just hope a team like the Braves can knock them off again in the playoffs. I
even can't hate their general manager, who's a 38-year-old wonderkind, because his stupid friend is my friend.
Oh, right. You're like, I can't hate him.
He must be a nice guy.
I can't see anything bad on the internet, because then it'll come back to him.
I guess I can hate Magic Johnson, right?
There you go.
I'm gonna hate Magic Johnson. Least hateable guy ever.
Oh, my God. I love it. So anyway, the Giants are, a whopping 1 game under 500. 6 games back of Philly. 4.5 back in Milwaukee, who's also behind in the wild card race. So not great, but we'll see if there's any miracles that can happen.
At least we could say we're one of the teams that's still in it. There's a lot of teams that are fan. Like imagine being a Cincinnati fan or a Pirates fan or something like that.
Sure.
Like, I will say that's one last point on the last thing. It is weird that the Padres are like the more villainous team than the Dodgers, right? Like you got guys getting suspended for PEDs. You got Machado candy assing after balls and thinking that he's hit home runs when they're just warning track shots. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, new rivalry. I hate the Dodgers now. I used to just feel bad for them. Now I just hate them.
Oh, you're the Padres, you mean?
Or sorry, the Padres. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Padres.
I'm like, you've always hated the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Man.
No. Newsflash, I hate the Dodgers. More newsflash, I hate the Padres.
Yeah, I actually realized I put them in the show description, but not the show notes. I did want to bring up Fernando Tatis, even though that's more than a week old. The San Diego PEDres, as they're going to be now known as.
There you go.
Yeah, that was, I'm sorry, that was shocking. That was shocking around the world of baseball. And I love his explanation. It's just funny as hell. Like, I love these players that come out and always try to blame it on some sort of weird supplement that their trainer or their third-party masseuse gave them. And it's like, you know the rules in baseball. It is your responsibility to monitor everything that goes in your body. And even if what you're saying is true, you're an idiot for not doing your due diligence, right? So no matter what, you're still to blame, period. You are.
At this point, if you get caught, you're an idiot because it's clear that people are not getting caught who are doing it. Sorry, sorry everybody who thinks that baseball is pure now, but
no,
they're getting smarter. They also look, when you get caught, you just gotta suck it up, right?
Yeah,
you gotta Melky Cabrera the situation and just be like, whoops.
Yeah.
I tried to get away with it. Oops.
Oops, didn't work out. Yeah. But yeah, the whole ring.
Senior coming out being all mad and stuff, and then now apparently the Padres organization is mad. It's like, screw you. I do have to say though, I wonder if they internally knew this was about to happen when they made the Soto deal, right? Because
that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
They claimed they didn't know, but the timing was very convenient. Like you were supposed to the whole season. They're like, Tatis right around the corner. He's coming back. He's coming back. All of a sudden, no, Tatis. He's not coming back.
Yeah.
I actually didn't look into it. Is it part of the next season too, or is it just the rest of the year?
No, it is 80 games. So yes, it wraps around to next year.
Yeah. Okay.
Roughly, right. I think 30 games ish. So he'll miss the first month of next year as well.
That's it. Yeah, that's like robbing a lot of time from a guy who's going to put up serious numbers. So it's going to impact his career significantly, I'd say. I don't know for sure what the truth is around that. He was hurt. Maybe he was trying to come back quicker. You know what I mean? And doing that by cheating a little bit, which is, in my opinion, a different thing than using it while you're actively out on the field dominating, a la Melky Cabrera, right? That guy was hitting 370 and actively using PEDs. So, it's whatever. I'm kind of the mind at this point where I care less about guys using modern science to be good because there's so many other things that we're already doing, and it's kind of like a slippery slope. Like, where do we draw the line? So it's in a way, I kind of feel like there is room for something like a steroid to help with recovery, I think. Mm-hmm. Because we do use that. Civilians use that all the time.
Absolutely.
You have surgery or something like that, and they give you steroids to help you get back on your feet quicker.
Yep.
I think that would be okay with me. I think using it to make you just bigger and stronger while you're out on the field, or human growth hormone to me is the one where it's come on, no. Yeah. Something that's going to make your heart and head really big. Let's not do that.
Shrink your balls too.
yeah. But there's so many things that players are doing now. So it's I'm less bad at him about it. I'm just more you're an idiot. You got to be smarter if you're going to do this kind of thing, right? So
yeah. No, absolutely. It's no, I mean, guys today, in fact, because I had my knee injury this year and I had my checkup last week, 2 weeks ago. And he was talking to me about it, and he said, how's it going and all this stuff like that. And for the most part, the knee capsule healed fine. I'm jumping again, doing double unders and lifting heavy weights. But it's the explosive movements because my hamstring tendons just are not healing as fast as I thought they would. Yeah. That mostly has to do with age, Hell, I'm almost 50. It's just not as pliable. It's not a blood supply. But he brought up the fact, he's all, if you ever want to get your testosterone tested, even if it's low but in the normal range, I can write a prescription for you for therapeutic, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, because he said, I dealt with this one police officer who tore his shoulder and he had surgery and he just wasn't making the recovery like he wanted to. We tested his T, it was a little low. We gave him replacement testosterone, boom, he came back like with a vengeance, because testosterone itself helps aid and speed up the healing process and can help strengthen those tendons and muscles too. And it's not testosterone like this cluster ball or whatever he was taking, right? It's not an anabolic steroid. It's literally just artificial or lab synthesized testosterone. So it's what would normally be in your body maybe when you were age 25, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is, you're age 45 or 50 and then getting your levels back up to that level, it's not, it's artificially heightened, but it's not an artificial substance. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the same. So I totally agree with you. I think there could be a lane for recovery for some of these athletes, but there has to be, some sort of division there. And I think they don't want to go down that slippery slope, right? Because then it's like, what's going to be included, what's not.
The big reason, right, and obviously we're off on a little tangent here, but the big reason to ban steroids in the first place is not necessarily the unfair advantage, because there are plenty of things you can do for unfair advantages. It's originally my thought process as I was a kid was, this is unhealthy for your body, and we don't want to encourage people to do something that unhealthy in the name of like playing sports better, right? That was always like how I thought of it when I was younger. It's like, you don't want high school kids doing it. You don't want kids in the minors doing it. You don't want all that. You don't want that to have to be the path, right? But there's plenty of things these players are doing to get an unfair advantage over everybody else in the world, right? When you have extreme training regimens and you're doing like cryotherapy and you're doing all these different things, they're treating their bodies a lot differently than anybody else is. And it's just a kind of modern science. So I think there is, like, at a certain point, you have to look at what modern science can offer you that's not detrimental to your body, and kind of, make a path and say, this is okay. We've decided through, testing and stuff that this actually doesn't have negative long-term effects. So why not have people be able to recover faster? Like, extend pitchers' careers and stuff like that. I mean, What if we decided it's illegal to put cadaver ligaments in your elbow, because that's crazy? That's an unfair advantage. No more Tommy John surgery, right? But no, it's like that's allowed. So to me, it's odd that we pick this one thing and we say, nope, not that.
They have like plasma injections, cryotherapy, right?
Yeah.
All sorts of DNA modifications and stuff like that. I mean, like, there's just so many things that they do take advantage of. It is a interesting gray area to kind of pursue in another conversation.
I know I'm like a dirty lib, because I'm also like, to me, it's like, in a way of it's akin to like, we've decided alcohol is okay. All those other things that get you high, nope, not okay. Like, it's like, it's very strange to like just decide that this one is okay and the others are not. And, so that's kind of how I think of a lot of things. So obviously, like, take my opinion with a grain of salt, because I'm kind of for like allowing a lot of stuff, but whatever. I also understand people who don't like it. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's whatever. But he is an idiot, and he's gone for 80 games. Got to play within the rules. Sorry, buddy.
Yep.
What happened to a Giant? That's what I would say too.
The Padres, still have a wild card spot as of now, and they probably will make the playoffs. But there are signs there, dude. There are signs that not all is well in San Diego, and I would be just kind of happy to see like Milwaukee and Philly make it, and then San Diego looking out as well.
Sure. Well, what's funny is right after they got Soto, everyone was like, "Oh, here we go!" Like, San Diego's now maybe better than the Dodgers or whatever. Then they go on this awful anemic run of offense. When they scored against the Giants, that was the first run they had scored in something like
it was Soto's home run.
Innings.
Yeah, exactly. It was crazy.
Yeah, they've been shut out like twice in a row at that point. It was ridiculous. And then they lose 1-0, and it's like, okay. And I'm as a Giants fan, I'm just like, hell yeah, let's go. And then they just break out the next couple games. So, but you are right. There's sometimes adding the best player in baseball doesn't necessarily just mean that you're going to turn it on and win everything. The Giants fans have to know this better than anybody. Yep. Barry Bonds did not turn into 5 World Series,
Exactly. And, they took a shot at Carlos Beltran one year, and that didn't work out. So that was 2015, I think. Or 2013, whatever it was.
Sergio Debon in the chat, by the way. I'm sure Soto's like, what have I gotten into this time around? I don't know if he's thinking that because he left the Nationals.
He left the Nationals,
So,
yeah. He rejected one of the biggest contracts ever. That shows you how much he did not want to play for the Nats.
He wanted out of there, yeah.
Yeah.
And no matter what happened on the field that first week, he's like living in San Diego. Like he's probably like, this is amazing. He went from DC to San Diego. Come on, talk about a step up.
Yeah. He does have to periodically wear those horrendous City Connect pastel Miami type uniforms, but other than that,
I'll say this though, better than the Rockies City Connect.
Oh, the Rockies. Dude, it's like after their
abomination.
state license plate with the green mountains. It's so awful. Oh my God.
Yeah. I turned the game on and I thought the Giants were playing like a minor league team or something. I was like, we playing the Savannah Bananas? Like the green version of that?
I don't know. The Savannah Bananas are better than that one, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, the City Connect, I got to admit, as a whole marketing campaign, they have made millions and millions of dollars. I cannot fault them for how wise it was financially, but artistically, God damn it, I cannot get down with 90% of the uniforms. They're
Could
just
have done
awful.
a lot better.
Yeah, there's some that were okay, and most of them are just awful.
They're trying to be like very modern, right? And it's like it's just that they're going too far. It's the retro look is much better. That's what they probably should have gone for.
Yeah.
Also, it's the mixing
nice.
and matching of colors that don't make sense with the teams. Like it's like no green on the Rockies. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, it just had to do with their state license plate. It has nothing to do with the Rockies colors. It's like, well, what's inspirational about Colorado? Their license plate. What? I mean, the Giants, of course, it's the fog. It's like, okay,
sure,
the fog and the bridge, all right. I mean, but it's weird, like they did the numbers and they're like disappearing in white. I don't know. It's, it's strange. Like Boston, they did the Boston Marathon. It's like, Boston has a lot more history than the Boston Marathon. It's
but the Boston Marathon had the bombing and
had the bombing.
They got a
Big
Boston
Poppy
song,
and
right?
yeah. No, I get all that stuff. It's just strange. What they sit around the table and they come up with these ideas, and that's the one that like everyone votes for. It's just I don't know. It's odd.
That's what I think is crazy about it. Is like everybody got into a room and nobody just said, "Hey guys, this is really dumb. We should not do this." Because why? Why do you not have a guy who just says, "Hey, really? Let's think about this. Should we really do this?"
Yeah.
By the way, while we're talking about the Rockies, we got to talk about Longoria's game of his life yesterday.
Yes.
Now, I apparently you weren't able to watch this game. I was kind of in and out of this game all day because it was a day game. We went out for lunch, and the game was on already. It was like, 12 o'clock start time or whatever. So we're like driving out to lunch. The game's on the radio. We get lunch, pop back in. The Giants are up 2-0. Then all of a sudden the game is tied 2-2. We turn it on right as the Colorado Rockies hit a home run. Next thing I know, we go and we walk the dog, and then we get back in. Oh my God, we're up 6-2. Hell yeah, let's go. Longoria hit a grand slam, right? Then we go do another errand. Then I get back in the car, turn around. It's tied 6-6. What the hell?
Yeah.
The Rockies came back. Then I finally get home, and I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm home just in time. Duvall's on the mound, and it's the bottom of the ninth, right? And all we got to do is we got to get to the 10th inning and give ourselves a chance, right? And you got your best guy on the mound in Duvall to do that. Mm-hmm. Longoria makes an incredible barehanded play. I don't know if you've watched this highlight, but
yes,
do yourself a favor if you haven't and go check this out. I mean, the ball was one of those balls off the home plate or right in front of home plate. It was like 30 feet up into the air. He catches it perfectly cocked in a bare hand and throws the guy out, a speedy runner. Then he makes another play in the next inning where he holds the runner at second, not only, which it turned out to be kind of big, but another speedy runner double bounced the ball on a quick play to his left, and he just fired it to first base. At this point, he's already got a grand slam, a double, and a single, and he's leading off in the 10th inning or whatever. We're like, oh, here we go. He's going to be the guy. He unfortunately grounds out, but then the Giants score 2 in that inning, so we're up 8-6. And then we just give up 2 in the next inning. So now they've retied it. And then we get here in the 11th inning, bunt the guy over, which you never see ever, especially if you're not the home team, right?
And we've talked about this before. Exactly.
Yes.
It's like it's a
And
difference
it's not
between
a good
visitor and
strategy.
home.
Yeah. So we bunt the guy over and then sack fly him in. So we do get the run, and that turns out to be the winning run, and we're able to hold on. And the final play of the game had to be Longoria, had to be involved in it. Lamont Wade, there's one out, runner on second, obviously. Lamont catches a fly ball in right field, and the runner decides to tag for some unknown reason.
That still didn't make any sense. If there were no outs, maybe, right?
Yeah, with no outs, fine, because at least now you can get in with another sack.
Sack flies in
right?
play. Yeah.
But with now, that's the third out you'd be making at third base. Now, I will say he probably beats the throw most of the time, but because Lamont makes a perfect throw, and Longoria apparently, I couldn't see, but New York sees much better versions of these replays.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like to me like he missed the heel, but I guess he must have caught the heel. And then the umpire calls him safe. I'm like, there's no way they're overturning that. All of a sudden he comes out. The runner is out. The game is over. It was incredible. It was just like one of those things where sometimes this is why I love day baseball. It's like the game was just part of my day. You know what I mean? As I'm doing all of the things I'm doing throughout the day, Giants baseball is just kind of part of it. I'm always checking in, seeing what's going on, and then I just caught that very end, and it was just great. It was fantastic. So no matter what happens, the Giants playoff wise, just give me some more days like that. That's all I want. That's why I love baseball so much.
Yeah, I'm usually working in the yard on the weekends, and that's what I do. I just turn on the game and put in my AirPods, and that's what I do. Just kind of like you said, it's a part of my day. It's part of my weekend chores. During the week it's a little harder, but I had some family in town yesterday. But yeah, I just fine. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. They don't make the playoffs for most of the years of our lives, and we still listen and watch the baseball. So it's just a part of the fabric of our lives. That's all it is, and that's why we're fans.
I personally think that's an interesting thing. I'm happy that we don't just make the playoffs every year, right? It's nice to have runs of success, but
of course,
I feel like it makes for an annoying ass fan base when you're just a good team. You're constantly surrounded by a bunch of people who don't really care.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then so it's just suddenly it becomes less of the fabric of your life. It's like when you think about Boston Red Sox fans forever had this thing they could all kind of there's camaraderie around the fact that we never win, right? We don't win at all ever. Giants fans, I feel like we had that for a long time too. It was tough. It was a tough road, but it was worth it in the end, right? And imagine being a Dodgers fan. Imagine if you're a 10-year-old kid in LA right now, and you just think, well, they've always my entire life they're in the play, and they're always in the World Series, and they're always,
yeah,
what a spoiled little brat you'd become, right?
So, hell, I don't even think a 10-year-old. I think a 20-year-old, because they started watching Dodgers baseball when they were 10, and so their entire teenage to adult life, when they really became a serious fan, has been playoffs every year, and they've won one, what some people call asterisk, World Series. I don't, but a lot of people do. Anyway, point is, I'm sure as a Dodger fan, they're sick and tired of hearing that from 29 of the other fan bases. That's a Mickey Mouse trophy, it doesn't count, and I'm sure they want. More than anything, they want to win one this year for a real, quote, real World Series trophy, but to shut everyone up. But yeah, it's interesting. And Mike Dowling here says, I'm totally happy with 3 out of 5. I got to admit, when they won that third one, I literally said to myself, I'm good for life. I'm good for life. Now, do I mean that literally? No. If I'm still alive when I'm 90 and they haven't won another one, okay, I would want another one by then. But point is, I agree with you. People go their entire lives. Giants fans went their entire lives with never seeing them win, right? And died before that ever happened. Or just wanted to see one in San Francisco. So the fact that we saw 3 and 5, that we're still carrying that through to these years. And
for sure.
Last year was frustrating. It was great, but it was frustrating that they lost in that Game 5 to the Dodgers. This year's frustrating, but it's I'm not sitting there cursing these guys. It's like they'll get it together sometime in the next few years, make another little run, and if they win, they win. They don't, they don't. But at least we know it has been done. We got to enjoy it as adults, comprehending everything that was going on, getting all the paraphernalia, and having all the wonderful memories. And look, there's 30 clubs out there. You can't have a team that just wins every other World Series. It's just not going to happen, and nor should it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to spread the level a little bit, right?
It's 30 teams trying their hardest every year at the highest level. So, it's very difficult to put together runs like that. And when teams like the Dodgers just spend more than everybody else, their fans just get like all entitled. I made a whole radio piece. You remember this, Chad? You were part of it, about fair weather fans.
Oh yeah.
During that run the Giants had, right? Because we did see it a lot, and we all concluded at the end that fair weather fans are totally fine. That's great. More the merrier, right? Come on board. Mm-hmm. It's funner when the ballpark is full. But I will say this though too. The other side of the coin is that there's also a bunch of people out there who are like, wait, who is the guy playing third base now? And you're like, we've had him for 5 years. It's like there's a lot of that going on too. And I'm kind of happy with. Every few years, you kind of purge that a little bit. You get the hardcores. Kind of, you go to the game, that you could turn to the guy to the left of you and like talk about, BABIP or something actually like a complicated concept in baseball, and they'll probably know what the hell's going on. And then eventually we get good again and we win, and it feels good, and it feels really good, right? It's not this kind of hollow like, okay, cool, another one. It's like it's that relief of 2010. Was just insane. And teams where it's like your team just always is good, they don't get to feel that. That's what I'm going to tell myself every year we suck, though, by the way.
That's right.
Be like, this is character building.
All right, I'm going to tap into what the Giants do best, and that is pomp and circumstance and celebrating their history, right? And part of it is great in the terms of, I think the Giants do a fantastic job. Obviously the cynic in anyone could say they're just trying to profit off of it. Yeah, of course they're profiting off of it. I think they go hand in hand. You can't, what are you going to do? Celebrate everything and say we're losing money? No. But what the Giants do is actually pretty special. A lot of other teams don't do it. But obviously 2 years ago, they celebrated the 2010 team. This year, just a couple weeks ago, they celebrated the 2012 team. And we know in 2 years, they're going to be celebrating the 2014 team, right? Mm-hmm. So this is another way to extend those memories. It's another way to relive them, to rekindle that passion, those memories, the nostalgia. Also, it's a good way to kind of teach the new generation of the younger kids who maybe were too young or didn't experience that run. Like, this just happened 10 years ago. Come here and sit. In fact, there was a couple of the players like, Ryan Vogelsong and others that had like 2-year-olds during that year. And now they're 12-year-olds. And they were talking about how it's been so special this weekend that they were all able to get together because now those kids who are playing Little League are old enough to comprehend everything. And it's great to see all of their dad's ex-player friends and to see all the video montages. And what they never got to see was like getting standing ovations from Giants fans, right? Well, now they get to see their dad walk out on the field and tip their cap and hear the roar of the crowd. And I don't know, things like that I think are really, really cool on that human level, not only for the players, the management, but also, of course, us fans to kind of relive those things. And so I thought it was neat. It's better than like, when the Detroit Tigers have like, we won the World Series in 1942. Let's remember that team. It's like, it doesn't have that same impact. And so I thought the ceremony they had was relatively short for what it was. And some big names weren't there for various reasons. And unfortunately, Tim Lincecum's wife passed away at the end of June. Yeah. And we just learned about that last week. That was shocking, from cancer.
Yeah. A lot of people were wondering why Timmy wasn't there. And
that's like, okay, that's a really good reason, right? Buster Posey wasn't there, but he was there for other things this year. So, things happen. I get it. Schedules are made. Maybe he had a commitment. I don't know. But, I mean, did you see the ceremony? Did you think it was pretty well done?
I watched bits and pieces. If I'm there, I'm going to be all about it. But I'm not the kind of guy that's going to go turn on and just watch just that later. Mm-hmm, so I saw some of the highlights and stuff, and I paid attention to who was there and who wasn't, things like that. I listened to what was really fun was KNBR that entire week because they kept having a bunch of players who were going to be there on, right? So all these guys talking about what had happened back in the day. I think I saw it was like maybe Scudero was on, Pagan I think might have been on. I'm trying to remember. There's a couple of bullpen guys who are on as well, and just some of the stories. I think Affelt was on at one point. Some of the stories that they had from back then were just really, really fun to listen to. And that was like you said, that year was different than 2010 and 2014 because 2010 was like kind of came out of nowhere, won it all, shocked everybody, and then it was like, oh, well, guess what? We're good. And then 2012 was like, yeah, check it out. Look, we're good. Obviously, like we got this pitching staff, and we got Buster, and we all these things going on.
Yeah.
And then 2014 was another one where it was just like, okay, well, we got this one guy, and he's enough.
We got this one guy who's going to make the difference for this slightly better than average team who won 88 games. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like 2012 was the year of like expectations in that era of Giants winning 3 out of 5. So it was just it was a fun season and fun listening to a lot of the stories, but I did not get a chance to like see the entire ceremony itself.
Yeah, no, it was well done, and the Giants are going to do it again with Hunter Pence in September. Putting his name on the Wall of Fame, so that'll be fun as well, and deservedly so because he was
by the way,
obviously big impact on that 2012 team.
2014, you brought up. Do you think Bumgarner's still pitching?
Well, wait, is he's in year 3, right, of his Diamondbacks contract?
Yeah, he's contracted for that year, right?
Yeah, that's his 5th and final year of his contract. So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it'll be interesting if he's still pitching and if it's the Diamondbacks, or I mean, who knows? Like they might just be done at that point with him, and it's like some other team, like maybe the Giants would want to just say, "Hey, we'll take the last year of this contract." Right? How sick would that be if he was like on the team? If he's a starting pitcher that day, and
wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. It's out there. It's a possibility, right?
I mean,
very cool.
He's obviously not the same pitcher since he left San Francisco. This year he's 6-13 with a 4.53 ERA, a WHIP of 1.4. I mean, he's allowed a lot of bombs.
He's also pitching for the Diamondbacks. Like if he was on a good Diamond team. 4.5 might be, 10-10 or something like that, right?
The win and loss record isn't. I don't really look at that, but some of the ERA and the WHIP and all that is a little bit bad. But like 97 strikeouts on 133 innings, he's just not missing as many bats.
Yeah.
It's things like that where it's like, he's just not the same guy he used to be. Certainly not worth the contract money, but he's a serviceable guy. He's got 133 innings this year, so he's eating innings. He's valuable to the team, not at that salary, but he's valuable to the team. So, if he puts up similar numbers next year and the year after, I could see him. But at the same time, if he really tanks, if he really something happens, and maybe at the end of next year, 2023, Arizona's like, crap, we're just DFA him, or something like that. Because he's probably not going to be a tradable asset, of course, anytime soon. So, you could see something like that. And he'll get picked up by someone. So I do think he's going to be pitching in 2024 unless he has a career-ending injury or something. Where will he be? But
the other thing, though, too, is like he will be kind of a mediocre pitcher on a big contract. So that's, I guess, the tricky part is you have to – maybe the Diamondbacks have to take some of the money off the books for you in that deal or something like that. But it'll be interesting to see because you would at least hope that maybe you can schedule that day, like a day when he'll be in the park, right? Like if he is on the Diamondbacks still, do it on a day we're playing the Diamondbacks, and then he gets to come out and be a part of it.
Yeah.
But
he's not always the guy to do that, though. So I know.
Yeah.
Well, in this year,
10 years is not that long, though. It's crazy. And like when all these guys came out, I'm like, none of these guys play baseball anymore. That's crazy. Like they all looked pretty good too. What was funny about it? But I mean, we were not a young team at the time.
No. It's always been. I mean, these teams have, the Giants, for the most part, over the last 10 years, have really fielded older teams. I mean, their average age is usually pretty up there. But whatever.
To be fair, we still have Brandon Crawford and Brandon Belt on the team, so
Yeah.
It's not like none of those guys are still playing. But
no, it's just those two and Madison Bumgarner, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about. Is there a random Well, I guess Yusmeiro Petit, he's still pitching.
Petit, I'm sure there's like some guys who were like rookies that didn't really get much play time, but got released, right?
There's probably a couple guys.
Go look at the roster.
None of the main ones, but that's pretty cool. All right, well, let's talk about who's hot, who's not. Not too much in the who's not category. I didn't really look at pitching. Obviously, Junis had a really good start 2 starts ago, but Lamont Wade has got 4 bombs in the last 2 weeks. Unfortunately, he's hitting a $172. So I don't know if that's hot. That's lukewarm, I guess. And then Wilmer Flores is hitting 310. He's the only dude hitting over 300 the last 2 weeks. We talked about Brandon Belt and his streakiness. Dude, he's 2 for 38. That's 071 clip. I mean, talk about... So does that mean he's due to hit 400 or 450 for the next couple weeks? I mean, at one point, does he turn that back around? That's the guy. It was an over-under in Vegas. I wish they'd have like Brandon Belt's batting average over the next 10 days or something. I'd be like, the over-under is like 250. I'll be like, I'll take the over because he's about to do it.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a name out for the who's not based on one really weird performance. Logan Webb had 0 strikeouts against the Diamondbacks in his start. Did you see that game?
Oh, I did not notice that. No. Holy crap.
He gave up 9 hits, 3 earned runs, 0 strikeouts. The game before against Pittsburgh, he had 9. Now, I'm not going to say he's not hot based off of one bad day.
Yeah.
But that was just shocking. Because I remember when they brought up the graphic in like the 5th inning, they're like, Webb has 0 strikeouts right now. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, even if you have a bad game, right? A pitcher like that strikes people out, right? You know?
Yeah, he's a strikeout pitcher. It's really odd to go like that. Sergio brings up Jock Still Cold. Yeah, he had his first bomb the other day since June. Like,
he still leads the team, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Still leads the team, and he hasn't hit a home run in what feels like forever. He's hit some good line drives though recently. I saw he went the other way the other day. He was part of some of the recent offense that we've had. So it's not like he's not in the Brandon Belt territory, but yeah, it's, we're hoping that he can find that power stroke again, because he was mashing at the beginning of the season. It's been rough watching him not be able to hit any anymore.
Yeah, like his last 14 games, he's hitting 290. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? So
that's higher than his season average of like 250, right? So
yeah. So I mean, he's not. It's not like he's not hitting. He's just not hitting for power. So, but
he's not hitting for power, exactly.
That's fine. He still leads the team. I know we thought when he was like sitting at 15, 16, 17 home runs before the All-Star break, we were like, oh, this dude might hit 30 this year. He might actually get there.
He might be
it was
the
like,
first guy.
Yeah, it was like, nope.
First guy since Barry Bonds to hit 30 home runs for the Giants. Nope, not this time.
The Giants.
Well, he could get 12 in a month, right? He could just go absolutely ballistic.
He could. It's happened before. He hit 3 in a game this year. You never know. But the Giants' streak of non-30 home run hitters is probably going to continue now, which is just like, it's crazy. So I mean, it's not that important. It really isn't.
How do you lead the majors in home runs and nobody hits 30? What is that? Well, I guess we were second in home runs, right? But
yeah,
still.
Second last year. Yeah, something like that. No, it's crazy. Nuts. It's all the pinch hit home runs.
Yeah.
So Mikey Yastrzemski also in one of those funks. He's 4 for his last 45. That's an 089 clip, and that's it's almost 50 at bats. That's a lot. So he's been struggling. And then Luis Gonzalez is 2 for his last 30. And now I wouldn't say that was the sole reason for him being set down. They needed pitching depth, and he had options left. We were talking about it pre-show. But I think it made the decision a little bit easier, right? It's kind of like you're looking at that roster going, look, he's got options. He's 2 for his last 30. Yeah, we got to make some room. Let him maybe get his confidence back, in Sacramento. Let's see what happens. And I'm sure he'll be back up here shortly. But
everybody who's sad about it, though, just don't worry. He'll be back.
Yeah, don't worry about it, guys.
Yeah. He's young as hell, and he's very talented, and he'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. So,
did we say the hot people? Because I guess you could say Bart still counts there, right?
Yeah, Bart's hitting better.
330 over his last 15 games.
Yeah. Is he 330 now? I missed that. Okay.
330 over the last 15 games.
Okay, that's awesome.
So his season average is still only 224, but you got to remember he was well below 200.
Well below. Well, he's got higher batting average than Yastrzemski and others on the team, and the Major League batting average total right now, the last I checked, was 240 or 241. So he's really not that far off from the average, batting average. So, and it's like, all right, that's,
He's actually, like we mentioned one of the earlier podcasts. I mentioned that, one of the biggest things about losing Buster was that you take one of the most important positions in baseball and you put a guy hitting well below the league average in that spot instead of Buster, who hit well above the league average. Well, now Bart's pretty much at the league average almost, right? So, and in the past 15 days, hitting 333, well above. So he's also now got 10 home runs for the season. Obviously, he hasn't even been up here the entire time. So, I think we can all safely say now he's got the talent. Now it's just, can he find the consistency and keep doing this for a year, right?
Well, how about this? So on August 1st, so this is only 3 weeks ago, August 1st, his batting average for the season was 182. Okay.
So he's got 40 points.
Since then, he's gone 16 for 44, which is a 364 clip. Oh, that's a period of 13 games. So in 13 games, he raised his average basically 42 points from 182 to 224. So yeah. The dude is definitely high. And of course, that includes 3 bombs and 7 ribbies too.
Yeah, it's obviously it's still a small sample size. Like the big thing is we need to see him do it for an entire season, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like the thing is we were almost like, I don't know if he can do it at all at the beginning of this year, right? We were watching this guy scuffle, and a lot of the thought was maybe he's just not a good major league player, maybe, but now we know. No, it's in there. It's in there. Just got to let it out.
What's even more shocking is that he's only 1 for his last 13, but it's still hitting 364 over those 13 games. Even though his last 13.
He's scuffled a little bit, but it's like he's playing the hardest position in baseball, and and I will say the other thing about him that people are so like locked in on what his offensive numbers are. Defensively, he's fantastic. If you've paid any attention, he's absolutely great back there. He calls a good game. He doesn't get shaken off a lot, and he frames well. He's a big body that frames really well. And obviously, if you saw the tag that he put on to get a guy out at home plate, like he's got the skills to turn a. He was basically the guy who made that play. And I will say everybody else in that play did their jobs perfectly. But none of it happens if he doesn't put on a perfect tag and catch a ball on a short hop before doing that too, which is incredibly difficult with the catcher's mitt. So,
and then immediately point to the dugout.
He knew it was up. He was like, nope.
Calm and smooth. He just swipes, stands up, and points and goes, check that. I got him.
One, baby. Awesome. I mean, like, if anything, if he's just that for the rest of his career, just a really, really good defensive catcher who has periodic pop, he'll be fine. But I think he's much more than that, I honestly do.
Yeah. No, it looks like he's turned the corner, and he'll finish the season hitting over 200, 220, 230 maybe even. We'll just see what he does, and maybe that would be a good springboard into next year. We don't expect him to be the next Buster Posey, but it is nice to see him kind of rebound right, like he has. So, I kind of probably should have always started a new segment because of the rotation and the revolving door of this roster this year. Should be just hashtag Forever Giant, just because of all the DFAs they've had to do this year. I'm not going to read all the transactions because most of the names we don't even know. It doesn't even matter. But hashtag Forever Giant, Steel Walker was DFA'd this week. I just like that name.
Damn it.
Steel Walker.
Not Steel Walker.
Not Steel Walker. I know some of these names. We're going to look back at this year, and there's going to be some names that, just like, who? What? But, a lot of stuff happened this week. We all know about, like, Evan Longoria and Luis Gonzalez. Zach Littell went on the IL and came back. Other than that, everyone is basically a has-been or minor leaguer that was acquired or sent to minors this year, or this week. All right.
We outrighted our Machado too. I don't know if you saw that.
That's right. Yeah, our Machado.
that was like when that deal happened. It was like, we just needed anybody who could play shortstop, right? So it was like, just who do you got? Give me anybody. And then I looked and I saw the Giants get Machado, and I was like, wait, what? And then I looked, I was like, oh, Dixon Machado. Yes, the lesser Machado. All right.
Now what they did with him is, 2 weeks ago they DFA'd Machado. But but he cleared waivers. So yeah, then he was outrighted to the minors. So he is still in the Giant system. So he's not hashtag Forever Giant yet.
He's not yet.
Not yet. Well, and I should I should hold off on Steele Walker too. Because he cleared waivers too, and he was outrighted to the minors. So my mistake. I take that hashtag back, Steele. I apologize. You are still with the franchise. Hashtag still with the team. Not cast off yet. Not worthy of anyone picking you up out of the other 29 teams, basically.
We're not putting your name on the wall of fame just yet, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I guess when you pick someone up, you got to put them on the 40-man, right? So it's not worth it. All right, well, coming up, the Giants have an odd week this week for all the crazy baseball they've been playing. They have 2 off days, today and Thursday. So they have 2 in Detroit, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then they got 3 over the weekend in Minnesota. And obviously Detroit, you look at a team like that, and you figure, okay, the Giants, you got to win both. You just have to, right? It's Detroit. They're struggling this year, but shit, the Giants are losing a shitty team, so who knows? And the Minnesota is doing well. They're in the hunt for the AL Central, so they're on the road. That could be a tough series. I could easily see the Giants losing 2 out of 3 there, but again, miracles can happen. But then the next week, Willie and I might be covering that Monday Padres game, and that's going to be, not as big as we would have hoped to have been, but hopefully a big series if the Giants have a hot week and the Padres kind of cool off. You never know, right? I mean, they could go into that series only like 4 or 5 behind the Padres. And if you sweep them, suddenly it's like, okay, now we can talk, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of things have to happen. So we'll just
I think
hold our
right
breath.
now we're all as Giants fans, we're all ready to get hurt again with a 5-game winning streak, right?
Oh man, that just was shitty. It was just like got up to 5, and I was like, all right, we're getting in, and it's just like, erased it all.
I feel somewhat responsible because we're on a 5-game winning streak. Logan Webb on the mound, and I texted you guys, and I was like, "Oh yeah, feeling good." And then that's when we started our losing streak. So this time, if it happens again, I'm just gonna keep my freaking mouth shut.
There you go. Yeah, I'm sure the baseball gods are listening to you. That's what it always seems, though.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, of course, has nothing to do with me, but it's just one of those. It's like the timing is just too perfect. Just
like ball players, are super superstitious, so are fans of baseball. We all do the same exact thing. It's just like, don't mention the no-hitter or the perfect game, where have your lucky sloppy Joe like you were having in the playoffs, things like that, right? Like we all are.
Dude, I haven't had sloppy Joe since. I don't even remember if I like sloppy Joe at this point.
Yeah. You should have had him
for the team.
You should have had him last year, Willie. See, it's your fault again. They lost to the Dodgers.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. No rally
Zeke
sloppy
doesn't
Joe.
exist, so I blame them.
Yeah, I don't know if a can of Manwich and Wonder Buns would have done it for you, and maybe it had to be a Zeke's.
We haven't
Joe.
won since Zeke's.
That's true.
Zeke's shut down.
Maybe Zeke's is the magic. I don't know. So, all right. Well, that'll do it for episode 261. I did this last week too. 261 of the Torture Cast. You can follow us collectively at TortureCast on Twitter, like us on Facebook. You can follow us individually at ChadK21. Two out hits for the missing Eric. That's with the number 2. And at Willie Dills, of course, we post everything, articles, podcasts, anything else on our website at torturecast.com. And you can find our podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Willie, you got anything going on?
Just going to mention, like I did last time I was on the show, MGAtour.com. The MGA Mediocast is back. We posted 3 episodes in 3 weeks. Unprecedented. And we're actually scheduling our recording for tomorrow for this week's episode.
Nice.
So that is back on track. And we also have opened up the registrations for the MGA World Championships. And I'm happy to say we are at 404 registered players right now.
That's crazy, dude. 404.
Which means it will be a record-setting year no matter what, but also that we only have like 26 spots left, because with a shotgun start on 4 full 18-hole courses, we would fill up all 4 of them. So
that is incredible, dude. That's Wait a minute. Okay, I think I did the math and it was 430, but I really hope your maximum is 420.
No, it's probably. I think it is 4:30. Yeah,
It's too bad. There's
so
a missed
like
opportunity there.
It's 172 per 18 hole,
Oh,
or
yeah.
per 36 holes. So it's, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I'm not, but we also, it's like the math is slightly different because one of the, don't ask me. We have like 20 something spots left. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll get on it, people who want to go be
We should just
mediocre at
make it
golf.
420 just for the hell of it, right? We
Just
should
for the
make
hell
that
of it,
the
man.
maximum. Yeah.
That's the annual
Like,
cap,
we reached our
420.
max, 420. Yep. That'd be pretty funny. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, it's the Mediocre Golf Association. It's very cool, very fun, very hip, very fresh. And the MGAtour.com is where you find out all the information. And we are moving right now the podcast because we kind of like did a freemium thing for a while where we were trying to host it without paying for it.
Right.
It's kind of a pain in the ass to find it. It's just basically on the website. But we're moving that now onto a real hosting platform, so we'll be on like Spotify and iTunes and all that shit pretty soon. So
Yeah, that'll be good to get. So, All right, everyone, thanks for joining us, and we'll be back. We should be back next Monday for episode 262. Until then, have a great week. Go Giants. Abu.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.